With Miami's Community News, and I'm Michael Miller, and our guest today is a very special guest. We're going to find out a lot about Little Haiti and what's going on there right now. And our guest is Aaron Goldstein. Thank you very much for being here, Aaron.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so you're the Director of Development at Midgard Group.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the organization, but before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about you. What you've been doing the last 10 or 15 years and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I'm Miami born and raised. So I grew up in Miami Shores and North Miami area. I've been in real estate for over 20 years. So my family's been doing real estate for a long time. When I was 21, I got my real estate license. I've done a number of things in the industry, from commercial property management, development, residential sales and leasing, management, value-add consulting on multifamily. I had a residential rental agency that I helped tenants that were struggling to find rentals in Miami as the rates had been going up and owners' inventory was limited. We created an office that helped people find apartments. And so we did a volume amount. It was a great project. I also worked on an entertainment venue in downtown Miami, which we owned and operated for 5 years. That was kind of a destination location in the middle of Overtown.
And so here we are, 2024, and you've been at Midgard for a few years now.
I've been back and forth in Midgard. We developed a few projects throughout Miami, some adaptive reuses. We just finished a historic preservation downtown Miami of an office building that was an old Morris Lapidus building. So there's
the Fontainebleau of the Fontainebleau.
The designer, architect of the Fontainebleau, he had his only office building in the downtown district in Miami, and we felt it was a need to restore and historically deem that building. It's since been condoed and sold as a condo office, but it was a great project for the downtown district.
When the Fontainebleau was being taken down, a lot of people talked about him. Actually, for the last 50 years, they were talking about him and the fine work that he did, and sort of way ahead of time.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about the overview of Midgard Group. What is it that your vision is for the area, but a little Haiti area? Let's define it, if you would, north and south and east and west.
So the Little Haiti area to us is a very exciting part of Miami. It's a very underserved district that passes through. It connects to the design district, which has been recently on the map, and there's some other very big, what they call special area plans designated within our district, creating a lot of future sizzle and talk.
And what's the main street?
So the main street where we're on is Northeast 2nd Avenue. We're from 62nd Street to 54th Street. What we have are properties both east and west of the avenue. I have about 20 properties on both sides, stretching from 54 to 62nd, which we call as like the downtown Little Haiti.
And as far as so people understand, how far from Northeast 2nd Avenue is Biscayne Boulevard?
It's a quick stone throw away. Right. We're separated by the railroad tracks, but it's a very close distance.
So you have these properties, and you're trying to, number one, enhance the area, trying to keep some of that culture there, and trying to generate business for the people that are there. So what does it look like for the people that are living in the area and for the future growth of Little Haiti?
Well, I think everybody's been fearful of the change and possible changes to come. The area is a more the buildings there are in disrepair. There's been a lot of deferred maintenance throughout decades of Little Haiti. So new people coming in, unfortunately, there's a lot of changes that kind of need to be made in order to enhance and enrich the community. What we've been doing is I have what we've kind of called through a neighborhood revitalization trust. They call them legacy tenants. And they're tenants that have been in the area for a very long time. What we find is that these tenants have been there for a long time, but they don't have any real rights or reasons to enhance their store, their ability to produce. So we've started going around. We've met a lot of our tenants. When we acquired our properties, the tenants in space We didn't have to keep any of our leases. They actually were abandoned, and they were all month to month anyways. And all of my tenants, they have great services that they service the neighborhood around the area, and it creates the essence of Little Haiti. And so we've been fixing up the buildings that they're in order to eliminate a lot of the violations, bring up the building to a certain standard of today, code-wise, and approved by the city, and allowing them to get leases on their properties. I've actually delivered 2 leases, 3-year leases to tenants currently that now have an ability to stay. They've now opened themselves up to small business grants, and now can really invest in their future on site.
So do you think that that's going to help bring jobs to the area and secure the people that are presently working there?
Absolutely, because a lot of the businesses that we've been supporting that are here in our spaces currently are mom and pop. They don't have the ability to grow because they didn't have the ability to stay. So now with this, with this idea of growth and the, to be able to hire possibly within the community. Also new, not every property that I own is going to be occupied by a legacy tenant. I have, first of all, and I want to back up a little bit because the idea and vision that we have for the neighborhood is very important. Is like, I grew up in Miami and I was born and raised, and to me, like, this is Little Haiti, so we kind of feel, and the Haitian community has really they have so much culture, rich culture and identity within the community, within the walls, and you don't really see it along the avenue. Driving up and down Northeast 2nd Avenue. But as a local, I know it's there. And it's like our job right now, and what we want to do is illuminate all of these great cultural gems that lie within our street that people don't know about, give it a platform to be creative and to create a future of our Northeast 2nd Avenue that's like a walkable village. A walkable urban village, because we are in the city of Miami. We're in the fastest growing city, accelerated growth, accelerated appreciation. Everything is so fast moving, and we're in the path of progression. So the reality is things are going to happen here, and we're a believer in being for good development. Because if you're against development in Miami, you're going to get bad development. And we feel that there's a need to illuminate the culture, restore the energy of the street, elevate the level of the retail so that we can invite in other retailers as well. I think that there's retailers that would love to be in our district in a Caribbean, aesthetic, a Caribbean feel, Caribbean people, and also Miami, patrons to welcome them back. So to me, it's a mix of our existing legacy tenants, but also elevating what we do have to welcome in a new round of business to Little Haiti.
There's a development down south called Colley Square. And I don't know how many acres it is, but these little shops all next to each other. And when you walk in there into this area with a lot of trees and everything, you feel the essence of what it is. And they have little tea houses. You go out there, and it's really a wonderful place to go. So as you're working on developing that, tell us how you're including the people that are working there and people that want to work with you to see it improve.
Yeah. First of all, I have personally hired in the community for stuff that I need. I think it's important to be members of the community. A lot of the spaces that we're developing are more micro retail, smaller spaces, smaller footprints for the owners to accommodate, be able to pay the rate, not have to take up so much. We're actually doing a unity of title, trying to combine spaces to eliminate the need of a bathroom within their interior space. We're doing things to accommodate the entrepreneurial side of, like what you said, you go through that space and you get it. You can see the small retailers, the large retailers. One thing also with our community is we have a lot of people that travel to work. And, Miami is not getting any faster in its traffic. It's very difficult to get from point A to point B. So as we create these jobs in the neighborhood and we open up these small micro retail spaces and somebody opens up, even any type of job that we're creating in the area, it's keeping our families together. It's keeping people from having to commute an hour or 2 hours, keeping them closer to home, keeping the money in our neighborhood. It's creating a sustainable atmosphere for the people that live there and the people that work there and play there.
So you need government approval to make some changes over there. When is that coming up, and what sort of changes are they going to be?
We've been working on a few projects, and the first thing that we do when we walk into a building or into a space is we kind of say, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? And we talk to the building a little bit or the community. And I've been listening a lot. I go to every meeting. There's the Little Haiti Revitalization Trust. There's the community workshops. There's community events.
And that's going on because of you, or because of everything that's going on in Little Haiti?
That's going on everything because of Little Haiti. There's been a lot of, when there's a very large project called Magic City that came in years ago and stirred up a lot of, activity of the area. It elevated, accelerated pricing. However,
how far is that away from your?
We're neighbors on a few of the properties. Yep. Okay. So they've done a great job at activating some of their vacant spaces, but they haven't necessarily built anything. Ours is way more, retail driven. We're about an immediate activation. I think some of the things that I'm working on, it's like we're uncovering problems. Like, I want to bring good problems to the city. I want to show them that, like, hey, there's been some, unfortunately in my district, there's been one building built since Miami 21. Like one building, and it didn't even comply with the moratoriums and the guidelines that they were trying to restrict. So what it says is that there hasn't been a lot of investment in our district. We're now uncovering these things. I want to create better projects for the people to embrace, but we have a future goal as well as, like, I'm not this big development where I just want to clear the space and build something that works on numbers. To me, it has to work in reality. So I have these spaces. If I do nothing with them, it does nothing for my community. Yep. So in order for me, even though it doesn't make necessarily financial sense always throughout the process, it makes sense. And we have to do things in the short term and the long term.
So I understand you do have a lot of support from local people. Tell us about that.
So and I'm sorry, I'm long-winded with my comments, but we've been going out with these new projects that we had identified. One of them, I want to save one for after, but one of them is a small retail complex similar to what you had described, with small micro retails, little kiosks, with food and beverage locations. We had 3 different food and beverage locations, and we're trying to unify the site, create on-site parking, and really go in line with what the community wants and needs. Just as an example, we were at the Planning and Zoning Board hearing, and I had on my side as just, a level of support, I had 20 or so people that showed up to support me, not only signed letters of support, but they actually showed up in person. I didn't write.
We know how hard that is. So they must believe that this is going to be good for them.
Not only did they believe it, I didn't write a single word for them. They stood up and they spoke from their heart. I had Mr. Louis Market is one of my tenants. He was in a building that, unfortunately, when we took it over, we did all of the analysis. Every engineer I brought through there said, this building has to come down. The roof had caved in. He was dealing with waterfalls through his electrical and property. Every time it would rain, he'd be sitting there cleaning it up. This is a gentleman that, can I tell you, people can leave him cash in the neighborhood, come back a month later, and he has it ready for them. He's like that trusted person. He has bleach stains outside his front door to this day of every day in the morning. He's there cleaning his storefront, making it right. That type of pride of ownership and pride for the community resonated very well with me. Me and him have become close, and I'm moving his store. I had to demolish his building. I'm actually relocating him to a new location where he has a 3-year lease. He's getting, he's very excited to have this new beginning and new start.
Where do you get that from?
What from?
To be able to help people that that you could say, all right, that's it, it's over. But there's something inside that's driving you and your team to be able to help these people and set the stage for a better little Haiti.
I think, I don't know. That's a good question. I think, number one, my mom raised me well. I think Miami needs this. I love Miami. And I think it would be a shame to wake up one day without a Caribbean district corridor. I think it's beautiful, and I'm born and raised. I'm not Hispanic. I'm not, I'm a Miami boy. However, I think it's beautiful that somebody could come here from another country, go to Little Havana, and speak the language, not speak a word of English, and feel comfortable. And to me, that's like what the states are about, is opportunity and thriving and prosperity. And
so one of the things we learned is that immigrants, when they come to another country, they are driven to be here, wherever here it happens to be. And they want to be successful. I remember when I was in 6th or 7th grade, I said to my father, how are these Cubans coming over here? And in 3 years, it looks like they own a duplex or the president of a bank, because they're driven to do that. And we see that a lot with the Haitians, a lot. Yeah. And one of the things and Oscar, who's listening right now, I'm sure knows this because we've spoken about it, the Haitian women, when they come on our shows here, they love it more than anything else. Any other background don't love it as much as they do, because when we pay attention to people that are driven, that want to be successful, they are appreciative. And I know that they are appreciative of what you're doing. So let's talk about it. Let's look down the road a year or so. What do you think is going to happen with your projects and to the area, generally speaking? Because we know years ago people were ignoring Little Haiti for a long time, as people ignored, we'll call it Wynwood now, I forget what it was, fashion district before. And then all of a sudden you turn around and you have these little shops. All right, we went to dinner in one of those shops the other night. It was great. And but we know that there's going to be some improvements in the area. How can the neighbors, whether they live nearby or the people that have jobs there, how are they going to benefit from the projects that you're working on?
I think it's a general quality of life that enhances. I'm a very holistic kind of minded person. It's I teach at the schools in the neighborhood. There's an elementary school, Tucson Elementary. I think just like, to me, it's like the more that you bring of positive environment around, it uplifts our spirit. It's in the morning, you make your bed, you clean, you brush your teeth, you start taking care of these minor things. If you don't do it, you're not really sure why you don't feel great or do things that, that make you feel good. The improvements that we're bringing, it's number one, it's educating people, because I'm not only giving somebody a 3-year lease. I've educated them on what is sales tax. Why am I collecting sales tax on top of this rent? That if you're paying rent now, hey, there's CAM charge, which are common area maintenance charges, and this and that. And we're doing things in a very, patient and progressive way that educates our tenants, gets them to a point to where now they can start to succeed. So I feel like if you don't give people the right tools, their job is a lot harder. So with the right tools, our tenants and the new people coming in will have a better chance to succeed. To have retail with no parking makes it really difficult not to park in residential neighborhoods.
It sounds like you have the similar things to a small business incubator, where people get together and you help them and say, no, this is how this works. Tell us about that. That's causing you inside to offer that to people.
I came in, when I first came into Little Haiti, I saw a very fragmented effort to help. And I saw a bunch of groups, few different groups in Little Haiti that wanted to try, or they had programs, they had funds, and they were trying to help, instill this information. And I just saw it very fragmented. And I said, there was one thing that I pulled off their flag, and I said, oh, what does that mean? Because I don't speak Creole. And and the definition was unity makes strength. And I was like, that's it. That's what we need. You know, together we can work together and create something positive. So all I did was really take my tenants that, you know, I knew needed this support and bring them to the places that were offering this type of support. It's very difficult. And just from my experience in the neighborhood, I have a tenant that is an elder Haitian gentleman. I wanted him as my tenant. He had an opportunity. He was losing a very good opportunity. And I told him, fill out the application. It's online. Here's the website. Go. And he said, okay, I'm going to do it. And then he went off, and I'm like, the next day, where is his application? It's not in my email. I call him again. Hey, what's going on? Where's the application? I really want to rent this to you, but I can't wait much longer. You know, send me the app. He says, okay, I have a friend coming over. I'm going to do it. Again, it didn't happen. And I'm like, what's going on? All right. So I got in my car. I went to his place. I opened my laptop. I set it up. And it was just that. He didn't have the computer. He didn't have the knowledge of how to even type into the thing. And it was that simple for me to just reach out and touch him to say, hey, you need this assistance.
So what caused you to keep after him?
I don't know. I care.
And
I read a book in class, and this is silly, but I at Tucson Elementary, I teach the second graders this program called Kapow. It's Kids in the Power of Work. The second graders. So I don't talk about much work. I talk about good habits, bad habits, life lessons, and different things. And one of the books we read is called Pierre. And it's about a kid who just doesn't care. And they love saying, I don't care, because it's part of the book. And the lesson is to care, because at the end of the day, if you don't care, like things just pass, you know, people don't respond well when you don't care. And you get a lot more from life.
So we interviewed a 10-year-old and an 8-year-old about keeping the waterways clean. They live on the water.
Okay.
And they go in their kayaks, and the manatees are there. Mm-hmm. They were so passionate about keeping the waterways clean so these manatees would have a safe place. And they learned that because somebody took enough time to say, this is what you do when you care. Mm-hmm. And that does make a difference. And we know people that make their beds and don't litter and don't dump stuff care more. And they're apt to be a lot more successful in life. So how do you balance the need for your organization to make a profit and preserving the neighborhood? Because it's
a tough one.
Yes. And so
I'm working on it. Not everything makes sense, in all honesty. And that's where we need those private-public partnerships to make sense. And I think that's, you know, we have community support. We know that everybody's on our side, and because I walk down the street and know all my tenants know and enjoy me, the neighbors. We have a great community.
Do they wave?
Of support, of course, yeah. High fives, waves.
So what is that for you, this Miami boy that's achieved this, this level of success, to be able to go into an area where you own a lot of the property there, and that the relationship you have with those, not just the employers, but people that work there, and for them to acknowledge you. It's just out of like Andy and Mayberry's, these cops walking out and people are waving. So what's that like for you?
Humbling. It's nice to be not to be looked at as somebody different. It's more inclusive and enjoyable. To me, that's what I'd like to create as our, it doesn't matter, what ethnicity, background. It's like
how long you been doing that? I know you're over the age of 30.
Yeah, I'm 43 years old.
Right. How long you been doing things like that?
My best friend at my wedding, in his speech, he said I'm like a secret philanthropist, because he didn't even know half the things I do, and he's my best friend for 30 years. So I do them just because I'm interested in it. I do water protection stuff. I work with the Bay.
When you were 10 years old, were you doing things like that?
No. Not really.
When did
I was a knucklehead in high school.
So was Oscar.
I was a nice guy when I was young. I think I had to get validated from, I think there was a previous alumni event or reunion that a few girls said, "Oh, you were such a nice boy," and I was like, "Yes, thank gosh." I hoped I was remembered as a good kid, because I know I had some knucklehead days.
So at some point you went, oh, this is working, and I like that.
It's a feel good. It's really a feel good. A lot of times you know, when you give and you give of yourself, it is a selfless act. However, it is, you know, it makes you feel good, and it I think it humbles you, and it creates a good line of and a good perspective to be able to make good decisions.
So when you were growing up to the age of 30 or 40, whatever, were there people in your life that were like
Yes.
that? And who are some of those people?
Okay, so yes, maybe you are right. You're getting.
That's why they pay me the big
When
bucks.
I was growing up, my grandmother, my Nana, Shirley Miller, was a philanthropist. Her sister-in-law, Sue Miller, was also who have done a great deal of charity in Miami. Growing up,
Yes.
I remember I used to go to the Cancer Caring Center events every Christmas, and we would set up I don't even know.
How old were you?
It felt like 1,000 bags.
Oh,
Man, I must have been anywhere from 5, from what I remember, till 13, 14, 15. We did it every year, every Christmas.
I recognize her name
Yeah,
and her work.
yeah. So they've done a great job. They've been doing things, you know, just that was their job, was to give back to the community. So it was embedded in my.
So here you are now, all right?
Psyche.
So what little kids are looking at you and going, hey, man, I like some of those things. You got any kids?
I do.
How old are they?
I have 2 children of my own, and I have 2 stepkids. So I have 4 in my house. I have it's a very busy house. I have a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 10-year-old.
God bless you.
I know.
Right. And just think, they're looking at you. The little kids are always watching, right? Always, and they see the things that you do, and you've created a whole another generation of giving. They may not be doing it now, but at some point the light's going to get turned on.
I hope so. I think it's what makes the world go round. Yes. And you know, we're believers in community, and that's the way, you know, that community grows and flourishes.
Okay, and we got 1 minute left.
Oh, great.
All right. So is there somebody you would like to thank for where you are today and the things that they've done for you, and maybe some advice to some young people? And if you could look right into the blue camera. Can we turn on the blue camera for them?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay. You're on the spot. You're on.
Yeah, the people, every mentor that I've had in the past, all my family and friends and anybody that has crossed paths with me has passed on, you know, important messages. I would say to the young crowd, don't give up. Stay focused. Put your character first. What you do and your actions is your character. Your perception and thoughts and stuff can get difficult. So we have to stay focused. And I would say the harder you work, the luckier you get. So work hard and be lucky.
Aaron, thank you so much for being here.
You.
Great job, folks. Again, if you need to find out a little bit more about Aaron and his organization, go to Midgard Group. You can find it
Group.
All right, all over the internet. All right, they can see a wonderful picture of you. It looks like this too. All right, folks. Again, he's the real deal. And again, thank you for tuning in. Remember, take care of yourself and your family. Have a great day. Thanks. Bye.